Ronnie, but
he's not going to get any minutes.
he probably won't get no minutes. Though again, in a couple of years,
Yeah,
when
when Ronaldo goes, and that's it.
Whatever. I got 45 minutes to record. If you could just turn this over just so I can see the clock, because I don't even have a watch on.
Yeah,
20.
Milan close to fuck healthy. Wow, that's a
Who?
good. That's a good deal for Milan. Smart.
how old is Falcao these days?
He's got to be 31, 32.
But still, like
For
for
1 year
his-
fixed.
for
Is Gattuso staying on as coach?
Yeah, they give him an extension. I think,
We'll
too.
talk about that another time.
Yeah. we can use soccer too every once in a
Oh,
while.
you still want to talk about the Italians not making it, right?
I don't know.
No,
Yeah, you did.
no.
All right, guys, welcome back to the On the Block World Cup edition. We're getting through the second half of the qualifying now. Seems like probably the most popular team in the world, Brazil, leading off Group E with Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. Another tough group. Like
Yeah.
other than Brazil,
This
not a
is,
powerhouse.
This is
But that everybody's in play for the second spot, I'd say, right?
I'm not completely sold on what the Serbians bring at this point. They were to me they were actually a surprise. I think they topped their group, but their group was pretty weak. I think they had the weakest qualifying group in all of Europe. The Swiss, the Swiss have a very balanced team. To me, they probably would likely be favorites for the second spot. The Costa Ricans provided a lot of shocks in 2014, but when we're looking at the team, it's basically 4 years older.
And it was
And they're not going to really catch anybody on the surprise this time around. The Brazilians, a lot of the Brazilians will depend on what you see out of Neymar and because they're stacked. This is probably the best Brazilian team.
And last year
I've seen it a long time.
last World Cup, that was one of their worst World Cup teams that I remember since the early '90s, right?
Well, I mean,
I thought so.
They
don't
got
think so.
injuries, and then they don't have
They have
David
Fred
Luiz,
starting.
Robin.
Fred starting at striker, that was not their best.
yeah.
team.
Well,
They've had worse
really,
teams.
they didn't really need them much, but they've definitely had worse teams, but they're stacked from pretty much every position. Again, now Dani Alves injured,
Yeah.
that might be a little bit of a weak point. I kind of like that they didn't take David Luiz because he's a bit of a loose cannon.
He also didn't play all year.
Yeah, he wasn't very good for Chelsea all year. He barely played.
Who's playing at right back?
A fullback.
I believe it's going to be.
for Dani Alves, yeah.
I might not be Danilo or it might be the other,
Danilo, the other guy.
or from Fabinho.
Because Alexander didn't make it, although he's a left back. So yeah, Danilo they have here from City, Felipe Luis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he made it.
Felipe Luis made it. Yeah,
Felipe Luis made it over Alexandro.
And then you got Marcelo, Marquinhos, Santiago Silva as
Oh
they
yeah.
have very good center backs right
Miranda
there.
too.
Very good center backs. Midfield,
Very strong.
you got
Casemiro.
Casemiro,
Who's fantastic.
Fernandinho. The one thing that they lack, and I think most of the really stellar Brazilian teams had, it could end up being Philip Coutinho in that spot, but the Brazil teams that always won the World Cup always had that central midfielder that was an offensive dynamo and always was stellar at giving the ball, like a Xavi Iniesta type player. When it was Kaká, when it was Ronaldinho, they don't have that type of player, in my opinion. Depending if you want to put Philip Coutinho in some kind of role over there, that isn't really his strong suit. So that might be a little bit of a chink in their armor. But at the front, man,
you're
stacked.
I
Neymar, Gabriel Jesus.
I think they have the best team in the tournament, personally. If I have to say, the defenders, and which they're never known for defense. It's only been the past 10 years.
And Allison too in goal.
Allison is probably the best goalie this year. He's been the best goalie in the world. And then behind him they have Ederson.
Ederson and Manchester City.
If you have so much depth in your team that you can leave a guy like Alexandra at home, who's been another great year, but they're stacked. Even their B team could potentially win the
And
tournament.
they got Firmino too. That's going to be up front.
So
on
for
the bench.
strikers,
on the bench, yeah.
I'll get the bench.
So you have maybe at right back with Danilo, who's not the greatest, and I can't remember the other dude's name. He actually plays.
Fabinho. I think it's Fabinho.
Did they call up Fabinho from
Yeah, Fabinho's there.
from Monaco? Is he on the team?
I believe
I
so.
don't think
I don't think he is.
Or it was Fabinho or Fabinho. I don't know. I only had one of those
They have
guys.
Tyson. So they have a lot of random selections, but I think those are spots they just filled in for young guys, just to give them some experience. But their starting 11 between Marcelo, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, you have Miranda, Allison in net.
Casemiro, like you said.
In midfield, you have Casemiro. You can put in Fernandinho. They also have Paulinho, who's had a stellar year. You can put Fred in there, and then
Is Fred going to see the field much?
No, I don't think so.
I think Fred's had a better year than I wasn't that. I think Paulinho at Barcelona was really up and down.
He was very good this year.
You think so?
He's been playing for Brazil though. That's why he got onto the Barcelona team, is because he's been playing for Brazil. With Casemiro, Fernandinho, Paulinho, I think they're gonna play 4-3-3. I think the back line is obviously set. I think the midfield will be set as well. I think you'll see Coutinho in front of them with Neymar or Firmino. Then you have Douglas Costa. You have Willian. I can just
Willian.
yeah,
That's a lot of guys.
and then there's Gabriel Jesus too, and they're all young. I think if you give the ball to Neymar, if Neymar has a good tournament, then Brazil has a good tournament.
Oh, I mean, the Brazilians.
Neymar's coming off that injury too, right? Like I guess he's healed, but how?
Yes, but there's something about like Neymar is after Messi and Ronaldo the best player in the world. I think once those two go, it's gonna be he's the guy. He's by far the guy.
Again, it's a team like. Could you have predicted that they would have gotten destroyed the way that they got destroyed by Germany and Holland in the last one? It's tough. Like their defense is to me better because again I think they had Dante in that Germany game and Dante was a disaster. Again, it's a stacked team. They should win this group rather. I don't think they'll have a ton of problems. Again, against the sides like the Germans and the Spanish, I could see some problems for sure. But I mean, right now I would probably agree with them like in terms of depth that they have everything that they probably need. Maybe that weak point is Dani Alves got injured, but
even Dani Alves at 34, 35 years old. How
still
much
a
can
good
he
player.
possibly? He's a great
Well,
player.
like we said, it's just
How
a
much
tournament.
can he
You play
Yeah.
3, 4 games, 8 games,
So
whatever it is, right?
Where I have to disagree with you is for me, I'll just say my picks. I have Brazil finishing first, with 9 points. By the way,
okay.
I see Serbia finishing second.
I took Serbia too.
I took Serbia.
Interesting.
I did take Serbia.
Personally, again, Costa Rica, 4 years on, there's only so much that adrenaline and excitement can get you.
Yeah.
I really like.
Sounds fair.
I think that if you look at the Serbia team, they got some older players, but
Maybe
some of
one
the
best
younger guys,
midfielders in form right
they
now.
have probably one of the best midfielders in the world in Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. He's fantastic. They've always had a great team. They just, again, like Croatia, they've just never been able to put it together. In this type of group, I think the second place game is obviously going to go down to Switzerland and Serbia. I had a very hard time picking between Switzerland and Serbia. I just look at the Swiss team, and there's no standout players that have been brought into the team. It's the same team from the Euros. It's the same team from the World Cup, and they're just getting older and older and older. Shaqiri's never really done much for me. I just don't think he's a great player. Yeah, at the back you have I don't even know who plays center back for them anymore, to be honest with you.
Well,
I don't know, they have-
Rodriguez is one of the wing backs.
And then they have Lichtsteiner on the other side.
Zaka. I think Zaka for Arsenal was a
I don't
player
think
that-
I don't think he's that great of a player. I really don't. And then you have
Zakaria? Defensive.
yeah, you have just Miley, who played for the Montreal Impact. He plays for Bologna. I can't remember. There's another guy here. Where is he? Like, if you look at the team that they actually have, yeah, Giroud, Johan Giroud. This is the same
Yeah,
team
he's
almost.
a little bit,
There's the same
suspect.
team every year. It's always the same team, and they do well. But I just think that
Magic's running on now. They're getting older, yeah.
they're getting older, and they're not really bringing in a lot of good young players. Maybe a few here and there, but you don't see them playing on the top teams in the world, where you see a lot of these Serbian guys are starting to make impacts on decent teams, but we're also are going to be on top teams. I just think I always think midfield wins soccer games, personally, and I just think that Serbia has too much firepower, too much mid, and their defense is actually very strong as well. I think they're going to top Switzerland in this one. So I have Brazil first, Serbia second, Switzerland third.
And you have the same thing, and I'm just
Yeah, I have Serbia second, and even Matic had a good year with Man U, and he's still there.
There's another player. There's Matic and Milinkovic Savic together is they're the two of the best midfielders in the world.
I don't know. I think Serbia's going to surprise. Now they're going to run into Germany in the second round, so they're not. Sorry, in the knockout stage, they're not going to have much of a shot there. But I still think, I think they're going to finish second. And I don't. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Switzerland were to finish last in this group.
Really?
Really? Last, eh?
Like, I don't like Costa Rica, but like if it gets off a differential or something, or there's a 1 point and they manage to win in a late goal,
Well,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Here's the thing: is their first game is against Brazil, Switzerland, and that's a W for Brazil. So they're already 3 points down, and I think.
Let's call it spade.
This-
It's Spain. Okay, it's gonna take a bar miracle for Switzerland to win. I'm just calling you what it is. And I think that first game, Serbia Costa Rica, I think that's done and
That's
dusted
the
too. That's
second.
3 games. That's 3 points.
Yeah, it's always hard to play from behind in these tournaments.
Yeah.
Because then if you rely on the last games, like it's kind of rough.
Okay, so we're pretty much set. Do you want to throw any last 2 cents on the group?
No, like I said, I think the Swiss, like again, from what I saw, because again they were in Portugal's qualifying group. They won in Switzerland, and then we won in Portugal. That was pretty much a decider. They went undefeated the entire time except for those two that last game. I think their team is built for these kind of tournaments. They got experience, which the Serbians don't have because the Serbians haven't been there in a while. Again,
But they're a younger team. The Serbian team's a younger
yeah,
team.
you're
too,
so,
right?
yeah. So again, that plays into it a little bit. I just like their depth a tad bit. It wouldn't stun me if the Serbians were to get out of there, but the Swiss are kind of proven in these tournaments that they can tend to do decently well. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with proven on that one.
And Serbia, like you said, they won their group and they're in form, right? Like they've
Yeah,
been playing really well.
They're
the
a wild.
worst, though. That
They're
was
like
the
a
worst.
It was, but still, right? And like I said, those two midfielders, you got a defensive mid and attacking central mid that are really good. I like them for that reason. Also, Ivanovic is there. Korlov had a good year. Roma
Oh,
this year.
there's another player. There's another.
Ivanovic
Ivanovic is a bit older, but in the
Older.
he's
That's the
got
thing,
his
yeah.
experienced cool head in the middle of the.
I think
Yeah,
guys like that are
defense.
going to bring some
Sure.
leadership that, Swiss, they have the whole team, but you need to sprinkle in some youth with some older guys. Let's move on to F. I think that F is going to be a tough group, at least for the top 3 teams there. We've got Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and then Korea. Obviously, everybody's thinking Germany number 1. How do you guys think the rest of the group settles up?
Well, I mean, again, I don't know a ton about the Koreans. Again, it's tough always to gauge the Asian teams in terms of, again, the competition level, how they do in qualifying. The Mexican teams, to me, has been the best team in CONCACAF for a long time. Again, they're getting into a new stage where some of the younger players that are coming in are pretty good. The Swedes, I mean, I could never have predicted that they would have been in the tournament minus Zlatan Ibrahimovic, because like he was a lot of their team, right? They had like Sebastian Larsson who was playing for the EPL, but like, there was John Guidetti, I think it was one of my guys because they had a good U21. I remember they beat Portugal in the U21 final. So they're a good defensive team, but I don't know. To me, it would shock me if the Mexicans didn't get out of there, because I think the Mexicans, again, I like Javi Hernandez. Always been a big fan of his. They have like a good balance in terms of how they work as a team. Hector Herrera for Porto, I see a lot of him. He ended up winning the league for Porto this year after he beat Benfica last minute. They're pretty well balanced, where I would think that they would have second lockdown with the Germans, but the Swedes could surprise. And again, like you never know with the Koreans, because they're those outfits that you never know what to
But
expect.
those
Right?
Asian teams typically never do well at the World Cup. Like, who's advanced other
Well,
than
maybe
Korea
they
when
are.
it was there?
Remember
When it was
Ji-Sung
in-
Park, and like some of those guys back in the day were like those teams who tend to like pull some
So-
spoilers tactic wise.
So I'm gonna talk about Germany first.
Yeah.
Just
well,
to say, like,
as well, yeah.
just to talk about Germany first. There's
Who they left off the team?
I don't. They have just proving from last. They brought a B team to the tournament
Yeah.
that's
I
supposed to be
think
the
they're going. I
champions.
remember I told you that and they
To
won.
be the champions of champions of every continent, and they not that they won, they destroyed teams.
It wasn't close.
It
Yeah.
wasn't even close. I don't care who you bring up. This is a well-oiled machine. Their roster stacked, and we're talking about leaving Leroy Sané at home.
I didn't understand that at all.
I
mean,
do. He's not going to get minutes. He's not.
I think he's better than Draxler.
I don't think he's. But Draxler is part of the machine. Draxler's been there for so long, and he knows how to play. He won't see minutes either because guess who? Marco Royce plays there.
Royce.
You have Royce.
That's your boy.
That's
Yeah,
my guy. I don't
Royce-
even know if he's gonna
He's
start. Is he gonna start?
He'll start. So you have
I'm gonna wear
Royce.
my Royce jersey.
You have Royce. Royce there. Draxler. Ozil. Well, not the
Mueller.
biggest fan of Thomas Mueller. Even up front, they have Timo Werner. Man, you can bring. There's so many players in the midfield. Like Rudy, Kadira, Cruz, who's probably top 3 midfielders on the planet. Goretzka, Gundogan, like, it doesn't matter who they leave out. There's no controversy of who they leave at home. The coach knows better than we do. And look at the back line. Manuel Neuer, Jerome Boateng, Mats Hummels, who all play together for Bayern Munich.
Kimmich.
Joshua Kimmich.
Kimmich is a good
And Hector not Bellerin, what's his name? Jonas Hector on the other side.
He's a good player too.
Four of those 5 players all play for the top 4 teams in the world. Bayern Munich.
No, Neuer barely played this year, so that might be.
He
But
might
they've been
not be
together-
ready. Yeah, they said
He'll be
that
ready.
He'll
He'll be ready. And then you have a midfield of you can have Sami Khedira. You can also put in Goretzka there, Toni Kroos, like I was saying, Gundogan, Sebastian Rudy.
Stacked team of Warner.
They're stacked, and even in defense, you can put in a Tony Rudiger. There's so many, and they're very well coached. They are probably, I would say, the most fluid team of the tournament. I like Brazil, obviously, for the attacking style and the players that they have. But in terms of player, coach, and fluidity of playing and formation,
They play like a team.
they've got everything. They've got the entire package. They've got individual talent. They've got good coaching. They've got a system of play.
Well, the one thing that lately they had those friendly games against the top competition.
Yeah.
They lost a lot. Like they've lost a lot more games recently than usual.
Yeah.
That's a little bit
Concerning.
concerning in a sense. Going into the tournament, 2-1 against Saudi Arabia. I think it was yesterday.
They usually crush teams like
You
that.
would see they usually crush him with that. Again, guys like Ozil didn't have a great year. There's some guys that haven't had the greatest of years. But again, like Sanya, I agree with him in the sense that he probably would not have played much. And again, he hasn't been. He's basically the same situation where
He plays for Man
struggles
City.
for Pogba or in France. Sanya, when he plays for Germany, isn't the same player because they ask him to do stuff that
Oh,
David
defense.
Silva does at City,
Yeah.
and Sanya can't do that for the Germans. Still one of the better teams. Should win the group. But like I said, I'm a little concerned about some of these results lately. I don't know if it's maybe they're just the friendly challenge
But
is
even-
so worth.
You look at
It's tough.
Germany's path to get there, right? Like they're probably going to play Serbia in the second round, like we said. Then after that, you have. We'll get to those groups after, but like I've looked at it, and they have a
They're
pretty easy path to get
gonna
there.
have
right?
to probably play other.
Until they play maybe Spain in like
In
the
the
semi or
semis.
whatever that, or the quarters. But
Well, I actually threw a wrinkle in that one. Actually, my next couple of things.
But we're just talking about navigating the group stage. This is
yeah,
Simple
maybe
as-
it's good, yeah.
this is easy.
We can rehash later.
Now, in terms of second place, this is where my wild card comes in, and I'm going to throw it out
As
there.
long as you take Korea, we're cool.
I'm taking Korea. I'm taking Korea to get second place. I just
There you go. See,
I
that's
just
a
think
walker.
that I watched Juve against Tottenham in the Champions League, and I thought honestly one of the best players on that field in the second leg
It was that Tottenham guy that
was
Parker?
Son.
Oh, son.
He was fantastic. The guy is strong. He can shoot. He was giving them the runaround. Now, again, watching Sweden play Italy, which is I'm not going to talk about that. Terrible. Italy was terrible. I thought Sweden was even worse, to be honest with you. I think Italy was their own worst enemy, but Sweden was terrible. Against a team that can actually play the ball on the ground, which Italy, I don't know why they crossed it into, again, we're not going to talk about that. But I think a team that is quick and fluid, Germany, I think, will actually give them a beating of a lifetime. I think it's going to be 3 or 4-0 in that game. I really don't think Sweden's good enough. Mexico, they had a hard time qualifying too. They had a hard time qualifying. And they've gone through so many different coaches, and there's so much. They just got caught in a scandal too. They just got caught with the prostitution scandal. A bunch of their players. But again, if you look at their actual team, they have very good players. But to put it together right now, they didn't have the easiest of qualifying. They really didn't.
But what does that mean? Though they're there, right?
They are there,
That's fine.
correct. They are there.
The Mexicans finished first, didn't they?
Correct, but they had a lot of trouble. There's certain games that they should have won that they didn't, and they tied games that they shouldn't have tied as well. It wasn't as straightforward for them. But again, nobody's talking about the actual Korean team. They have some very, very solid players. I think in terms of quality-wise, Mexico should be there. I just don't see them. Tactically, I don't think they're the greatest. And some of the guys are older. Giovanni Dos Santos never hit the heights he's supposed to. He's playing for the LA Galaxy now. His brother Jonathan, on Barcelona as well, playing for the LA Galaxy now too. Chicharito, he's bounced from
Is
club to club.
Chicharito even on the team?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He
always
made
been.
it?
Yeah. He's probably the best striker.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
bounced from club to club for the past
West
4 years
Ham,
now.
yeah.
So not okay. He went from.
Yeah.
Remember he was on Madrid? Was it Madrid where he scored a bunch of late goals at that?
Yeah, Real Madrid.
So he's been on loan. He's at Bayer Leverkusen now. He's jumped to West Ham. He's gone from so from the top team, which was Manchester United, he went on loan to Madrid, which is really weird. But I'm not going to talk about that. But he's been declining. Leverkusen he had a good year, but he's been going
29.
from elite teams to good teams.
To mediocre
teams.
trash teams. Yeah.
And who knows where he's going to have next year? I'll guarantee you within a year and a half, he'll be in the MLS,
yeah.
getting big money, or in China. Hector Herrera is a great player, don't get me wrong. And there's another guy that's on the team. Peralta's decent, but it's this guy here, Herving Lozano. That guy's a star. He's a fantastic player. He plays in Holland. He's a great player. I don't see them putting it together. I really don't. I think this is, and maybe they think they're better than they are. Maybe.
I like Ochoa, the keeper, too.
He had a good
solid,
turn. He was
He
good, but
was
he
solid last World Cup. I
Yeah,
remember.
He also had a fall from grace. He's also playing where
in
now?
Belgium.
Is he not playing in Belgium? He was playing in France.
He's a
supposed to
little
play
older
much teams.
too. He's been around for a
He's
long
He's
time.
32, yeah.
I think personally, I think Germany's going to beat everybody. Clean sweep. I think that Sweden may end out of this group with no points,
Wow.
and I think that the Mexico Korea Republic game is going to be the decider for second place, with Korea going
The
through.
one thing about the Koreans, because again, I'm just thinking about it in terms of a size standpoint. You put them up against the Germans and the Swedes, who have a lot of freaking massive guys. They're gonna have a lot of problem in physicality and set pieces in terms of they're gonna be dealing with a lot of giants.
Correct, but
That'll be interesting.
I don't think that you.
That's a ballsy pick though. I had them finishing fourth.
I don't
pick.
think you play Sweden. I think people watch. If you're watching as a coach, you're watching them play Italy, and you see the tactics that they employed were horrible. I think if you do the complete opposite and you play with a lot of fluid play, a lot of off the ball runs, and just quick passes, I think you knock Sweden out easy. No questions asked.
We gotta move on from this group.
Who you got?
I did take Mexico finishing second, which would and they put it against Brazil in the next stage, but they'd be done. I don't know. Mexico to me, like you said, they always cruise in the CONCACAF. They've been the best team. I think they've always been better than the States. They don't have obviously the big names, but I like the way they play. They play like a South American team, very physical and all that. And I just think that they're gonna break. I don't think they'll have a problem qualifying. I don't think I think they might even get 9 points in that group, to be honest. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then in second, Germany's obviously first. Yeah. Let's move on to Group G then. We'll try and get through these last two groups fairly quickly. Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and England.
I don't think this is pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of
Who's first, who's second?
that's what I was gonna say.
Let's ball in there.
I'm gonna go team by team. Belgium is. I don't think there's been a team in recent history I always thought there was gonna be a team that would start to challenge the elite, that would become a superpower. Belgium seems to be that team because you've always had like a Croatia, and some of these other teams who have had great players, but not in every position, and they don't have not world class. This Belgium team, from top to bottom, maybe
midfield to top.
Their defense, technically, their center backs
Yeah,
are as good as any in the world. Vertonghen, Alderweireld, even at one point Company, and at one point what's his name, Vermaelen. Those four can play in any team in the world. They're fantastic players. Maybe in striker they're still lacking something, but they still have firepower up top with Lukaku. I think Origi's on the team and Batshuayi. Midfield are stacked.
I don't think Batshuayi made the
He's
team.
injured. Because he's injured. He got hurt.
Oh, he got hurt?
He had a great finish.
Yeah, he was great for Dortmund finishing. So back to my point is, these guys are the only team I think in the past, or in general, that I think can become genuine powerhouses. Genuine powerhouses. There's teams that flirt with it. These guys have the potential to be a powerhouse. Whether they can put it together or not is totally different story. Yeah, let's like top to bottom again. And it's not that it happened. Not that people weren't paying attention, but the pieces came together, and it's like, who would have saw this coming 10 years ago? I didn't see this coming 10 years ago. It was impossible.
No, the Belgians like 10 years ago weren't even on the map for the most part.
So that's for Belgium.
I guess they have to thank.
No, this is a golden generation.
Immigrant,
but it's
immigrants
also
for that, right? Because these are not really native Belgians.
No,
right?
They had the same plan Germany had.
Well, Germany, exactly.
And they implemented the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So they say generally the closer you are to Western Europe, the more like that they.
Yeah,
get
Belgium
better
10 years
chances
ago
to
wasn't on the map. They were on also ran.
I think leaving Nainggolan, obviously, like the Italian again.
Okay.
I think that's a huge mistake. It could either be a huge mistake or it could be a genius move.
Well, if Axel Witsel comes to
Axel
another
Witsel,
guy, right? Like playing in China. That's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm taking Nainggolan over him any day of the week.
Yeah, he was. This guy went from. He could have joined Juventus that
He
summer.
could have joined anybody.
He could have joined Juventus
He's
that
not been
summer.
Benfica for a long time. I watched him quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's 29 too.
But
It's not like
he
he's
chose
still, like,
he
super
chose to
young.
go to China
Money,
to
he
make
wanted
money.
money. Yeah.
Now,
Same with Hulk. Hulk was buying the Brazilian team back in the day.
yeah.
Love that game.
England. I think they're the most overrated team in history.
They have been. Yeah.
Because I think with the
Ah.
success of the English Premier League, I think they have a good team. I don't think they can win the whole thing. I don't think they can make the semis either. They have some very good players. Marcus Rashford can potentially be
Very good player. Yeah.
one of the best players on the planet. He's got everything he needs. You just have the right system.
See, Sterling and Dele Alli, I like on
Very good.
Like,
Very
like,
good.
two of the quickest
Harry
guys.
Kane, they got players, man.
They do, but I think they're too young to do anything, and their defense is not good enough. They have Gary Cahill, who I don't rate very highly. Kyle Walker's good. He's amazing. No, he's solid. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah. Phil Jones is probably they're probably gonna
They
start
won't start Phil Jones.
Stones and
The,
Jones.
Stones. It'll be Stones.
The young kid from Liverpool was actually really good. The left
He
back.
was Alexander Arnold. Is he on the team?
Alexander Arnold's on the team. He'll start.
I don't think he'll play over thing though. They have Kieran Trippier and they have Danny Rose too. I think
Alexander Arnold starts based on on Liverpool.
Well, he had a fantastic year, but I guess it's based on formation. I think defense-wise, they're gonna start with Cahill and Stones. They don't like Jordan Henderson is your holding midfielder.
Eric Dyer.
Eric Dyer's a good player too. But a lot of these Tottenham guys do well because of the system that they have and the coach that they have and the players that are beside them. Is Jack Wilshere on the team?
No, he did not make the team.
Jamie Vardy doesn't have Riyad Mahrez. He doesn't have anybody to send on.
Vardy.
Sterling doesn't have like a lot of those guys. He doesn't have David Silva beside him. He doesn't have guys behind him like Fernandinho to play. It's a crazy group of players. I think this is one of the better teams that they've had in the past years. I don't think it's better than the teams of Lampard, Gerrard, Hargreaves, and all those guys on paper. Phil Jones
Has a better team, I think.
That's what I mean.
They have a younger team. I think this time they're going under the radar personally,
Yeah.
which I think can help them. They do have what I think is one of the top 5 strikers in the world in Harry Kane. I think he's a phenomenal player. In midfield, I don't think they have enough. I think they have too many boys and not enough men. Dele Alli is a good player. I think he disappears in big games.
I think Dele Alli's really good.
He is good, but I watched him against Juventus and he did nothing. And he was playing against seasoned veterans. When it gets to the nitty gritty of the tournament, those guys don't have concentration.
I don't think he's gonna have a problem against
He's also-
Belgium.
he's also a bit of a
Yeah,
back
yeah,
job,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I was going to bring that up.
And you got Danny Welbeck, really?
See, that was
these
that
guys
was
aren't
that
gonna
was
play,
a, that was a
though. Like,
surprise.
you
You
play.
don't know if he's gonna play. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Welbeck keeps making the team based on the fact that Welbeck brings some speed up front, and he does a good job of pressuring defenders.
Yeah.
But with that,
And
and he plays a good defensive game when they're trying to hold games. That's why he keeps making the team.
Jesse Lingard, I don't know what everyone sees in this guy. I don't think he's that great.
He's had a pretty good decent room match.
Are we gonna
He's not gonna start.
talk about Panama and Tunisia? Because to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about them. I think they're.
So you're going Belgium, England,
Belgium.
right?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that yet.
Oh.
Let's talk about. I want to talk about Tunisia and England. I'm sorry,
The problem
Tunisia
is
and
Tunisia's
Panama.
players play for Germany, right?
Well, the Tunisians, again, saw them recently in a friendly against Portugal. Came away pretty impressed.
Oh, they got Ben Youssef, right?
Yeah, they got Ben Youssef. They have some decent players. This is probably I'm not gonna say they're the best African team there. They're the highest rated one by FIFA, which doesn't really matter much.
Yeah.
They play a pretty cohesive as a pretty
I can see
cohesive unit. They could surprise and take some
Who's
points.
your coach?
Some points
Nabil
away.
Malou.
They have some guys that are there, and they could pull like surprise people.
I think I think their only points are coming against Panama,
Yeah.
if that's it. And I think this group is set and settled. I think the dust is there. It's just a matter of who you're picking first and second. I'm going England first place,
Oh,
Belgium
there
in
you go.
second.
There you go.
Well, that's more of a. And you didn't say too
Oh,
much good
surprise.
again about England, but
I
guess
know, but
you're
what-
not sold on Belgium either.
What I'm saying is that the potential for them to emerge as powerhouses is there. I just think that in the first 3 games is when you're going to see they need to grow. I think they'll get better as the tournament goes on. I just think that England has enough to beat them in that game. I just don't think they have enough gas in the tank to go completely forward. So I'm going England first, Belgium second.
Wow, I thought I was gonna lay a shock. I guess I didn't lay much of a shock. I think that the English come in with as low aspirations as they probably ever had going into a World Cup.
Which, yeah.
But like he mentioned the Lampard Gerrard situation, like they actually brought that up like about a month ago, where those guys, the problem with those guys were they never tried to give each other secrets because they all played on the EPL teams, and they had Lampard and Gerrard talking about this, and that's what really killed that team. Gerrard and Lampard really couldn't play well with each other,
Yeah.
based on the fact that like
And they're similar
they,
players.
Rio Ferdinand didn't trust the guys on Chelsea to keep in-house secrets, stuff like that. And again, a very individualistic team in a sense. These young guys come in with very little aspirations, though. Again, the bookies have them in the top 8 because again,
They
England
want
is
to take
England.
England's
Yeah,
money,
yeah. Harry Kane, to me again, like you mentioned, very good striker. I personally like Sterling's finishing ability isn't great, but man, that guy is quick.
Yeah, he's quick.
He's gonna cause again. That's why the Belgium defense to me is a weak point in my opinion
on the flanks. Yeah.
on the flanks especially. And I think that the English will take advantage of that and come out with, if not a win, at least a draw and some points in terms of goal difference. It might be another goal difference type of group. So again, I'm going with England, going with Belgium second. But again, mark my words, don't sleep on Tunisia to do something there. Panama, again, they're just happy to be here. I don't think again they last minute win. They're just making out the field. Don't be surprised if the Tunisians cause problems for both those teams because they're solid defensively and they can hit them with a goal or two. Don't be shocked there. So England, Belgium.
I thought I was going to be a shock. We all got the same thing.
Okay,
I took Belgium in second.
Yeah, see, there you go. Because the Belgians have this thing where yes, they're seen it, but they're not a proven. To me, they're not a proven product. They had a nice World Cup run last time out.
But even then,
They beat the Americans. Like again, remember
Yeah, but
they lost to
They
Wales.
lost to
2-0.
Wales, which is
Yeah, but Wales and Iceland had coming out parties last year, and that
And
was
then you
that
make
was Gareth Bale's like prime,
Remember
right?
like the guy that scored all those Wales goals. That guy wasn't even playing on a team.
yeah.
That's how
Free
bad
agent.
that defense was.
I think
So that's why I don't trust that defense.
I think not having Nangle on the team is
Yeah, the midfield, like-
But
that's
then
a
you look at it, right?
disgrace.
You got like Hazard there,
Chadley.
Mertens.
Well, Hazard's a game breaker type player. I like Lukaku.
Like Lukaku, I was gonna say.
I
Lukaku's like-
don't think he starts.
Who's that?
Who's gonna start striker for them?
Dries Mertens. He's had an amazing year for Napoli. He's been
Well,
fantastic.
they've both been doing it.
They've been playing both?
yeah.
Okay, so if they're playing both, then that's a different story.
Lukaku's a power guy with a lot of strength and hold up the ball. He's a finisher. He's a guy. He's a target man in the box. He's a guy that a lot of defenses have a tough time handling based on his strength, and he's got decent aerial ability and head rush.
I was gonna say two Dembele's had. Well,
I don't think he's going to start.
I don't think
And
he starts.
he's actually a fantastic player.
I don't think he
Nainggolan
can
will
start.
be missed though.
I don't think
Nainggolan
Yes,
will be missed.
Nainggolan will be missed.
Are they starting Carrasco?
Yeah, they're going to play him on the
Yeah,
wing.
correct.
Now, here's the thing.
Chinese-
What I think about the
Chinese-
Belgians is I don't think they have a winning mentality. They have great players, but
At the back. I'm
a
telling
lot of these guys, and you look at them, Carrasco, Witzel, a lot of these guys are going for the money to China in the prime of their careers. Like, what kind of aspirations do you have to win if you're already selling out to
There was
China?
talk about possible Barcelona. Okay, I want to get back so you can move on to the group. I'm gonna make my quick predictions here. I love Belgium's attack, like a lot, like we said. I think that They have just like the top four powerhouses, embarrassment of riches up front. But I think, and I've never been an England guy, but I think that England's speed with Dele Alli and Sterling there, they're going to be too much for a lot of teams to handle. Their defense, like we said, it's not great, but how many great defensive teams that are in the conversation to win the World Cup have great defenses? Not many. The top 3 or 4 teams. They're not going to win the tournament, but I think that England can advance. I had them finishing first. I can't let you know who's in my age, but I would have them winning against the second place team in Group H. And then you go into a matchup against, you play either Brazil or Mexico in that next round. I think
the Brazilians will kill them.
Yeah, but I think that they can sneak and win an elimination game. Maybe win a second.
Again, low aspirations is always a good thing for the English.
I think that's it. So let's move on there. We're going to get into our last group now with Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and Japan. Who wants to kick this one off?
This to me, again, I mentioned upstairs.
Anybody
the Poles should not have been seeded because again they've done decently in terms of qualification. Yeah. To say that they have better pedigree than let's say Italy or Spain for example to be in the pots didn't make any sense to me. Lewandowski's basically their talisman. He's had a rough year at Bayern Munich. He wants to move. He doesn't want to be there anymore. They might have some problems in this group. They have Błaszczykowski. They got some good players. They made a nice run at the Euros, beaten by Portugal in the penalties. I personally think that the Colombians have enough to top the group. And I'm going to take Poland second. But again, Senegal is one of those teams where Sadio Mane, same kind of like Egypt with Salah. They might again. I've seen a lot of pundits take Senegal to reach a lot further heights than getting out of the group stage. So again, I'm taking Colombia first and Poland. I think the Colombians play well as a team. They have the most talent in terms of every side of the ball, in terms of up front, midfield and defense. And yeah, I think the Polish will squeak into second. Though again, Senegal won't stun me.
I personally think Group H is the most
tight,
if not
tightest. Probably.
It's tight. I think it's one of the most solid World Cup groups of all of them. None of these teams can win. I don't think can win the tournament, but I think any single one of them can go through in this group. Any single one of them, which is crazy, because
we're gonna say Group E and Group H are probably the deepest too, right? Oh, sorry, D, E, and H. I guess. Okay, when you have Group D, Group E, and Group F, you have a powerhouse or two in there. Yeah, this one.
You don't have a powerhouse in these groups.
That's why
it's a very balanced, but it's still solid. I'm going to talk about Japan first because
loves the Asian team.
Nobody said anything.
Of course not.
They're very, very good technical players. Very good technical players. Not a lot are playing in Europe at the moment, but that also does say something about the Japanese league itself.
Probably
they're not. You used to have some players.
Too.
You used to have some players that were on top teams.
They still got Kagawa.
They have Kagawa. They have Kizuki Honda. They got a guy, the Okazaki from Leicester.
Yes.
They can surprise. They play quick. They play good ball. I think they're the best Asian team in the tournament, personally. I think they got a difficult group to be in because I'd rather be with one powerhouse and then two
fight for the second spot.
Yeah. This is they can fight for first, but they can also finish fourth. I think they have a good team. Senegal, they're not going to repeat the 2002 heroics, being France that tournament to making, I want to say the quarters. I don't think it's going to happen. They have Sadio Mane. Okay, great. It's great for them. The same thing with Egypt. I just don't think they have the depth.
Oh, that's right. They had El Diouf in that tournament.
El Diouf, and they surprised France like crazy.
They beat France in like one of the opening games. Yeah.
So I think that personally,
that was crazy.
I think they could shock people. Like who knows? Poland has a lot of Serie A-based players. I get to watch a lot of them. They have Zielinski. They have Milik. Their goalies are fantastic. They have Oblak. And they also have Szczesny.
Oblak is very good, yeah.
Oblak's one of the best goalies in the world. Szczesny plays for UA. He's fantastic. Keep going for a second. Between Zielinski, they have Milik, who plays for Napoli.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of other guys that are playing in the Italian league. And, they're no slouches, right?
Well, again, I think they're going to do or die well with
Jack Linetti. Zelinski's here.
If Szczesny started,
Milik, Lewandowski. Between Lewandowski, they have Kamil Glick, who's the captain of Monaco, made semifinals that year. Piszczek is fantastic too. He plays for Dortmund. You have probably, outside of Messi and Ronaldo, you have the best center forward in the game. Lewandowski is probably the best center forward in world football.
Timor Suarez?
They're neck and neck.
Cavani?
They're neck and neck. He's better than Cavani. Yeah, he's better than
He's
Cavani.
better than Cavani too.
Milik is a great player. He's got a good supporting cast. They're a solid team. They're a very, very solid team. And if we're going to talk about Colombia,
James had a good comeback season.
yes,
And then,
James Rodriguez is a world beater. He's a fantastic player. They also have Juan Cuadrado. I'm pretty sure Duvan Zapata didn't make the team. But you have Luis Muriel, Falcao. Who do they have in midfield? They have Sanchez as well. Obviously, their main guy is definitely going to be James Rodriguez
Falcao.
and Falcao.
Did Baca make the team?
No, I don't think so. He didn't. Maybe actually, but he's not really gonna play.
Yeah.
You have the guy that just signed for Barcelona, Mina, in the back. He's a good player. I can't remember the other. They have Davidson Sanchez too, who the guy that plays for Tottenham. So that's and then the other Zapata that's beside him. Solid team overall. Now, and with that South American player, they have a standout player in James Rodriguez. And they have a lot of good.
Well, that's the thing. Up front with James, they got Cuadrado and Falcao. Like that's pretty good attacking for an international.
Yes.
You know what I mean, for a non-powerhouse team, that's pretty good.
And Muriel, who also he scored a lot of goals for Sevilla this year.
Yeah, they gave the Brazilians all they could handle back in 2014 as well.
And he scored the goal of the tournament last year. The last tournament. I'm going with my choices. I'm going very straightforward on this one. Poland top the group, and I'm going Colombia next. And I think Japan will finish third, and Senegal is going home. I don't know if they're going home with any points, but we'll see. Maybe one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going with the Colombians to top the group, and the Polish to squeak in the second. But again, don't sleep on Senegal.
I haven't slept on Senegal, so here comes
there
the
you
shocker.
go.
Here comes the shocker.
It's
Okay.
gonna start him on.
I'll start first with Colombia. I had them finishing first in their group, and I really like the Colombian team. I have for I don't know since not too long. I guess maybe the last World Cup when James was still very young and he had a good tournament. But I don't know. Colombia they have too much pedigree. Like they have some veterans there. Like I said, Falcao seems to have found a second wind in his career like them. I do have Senegal coming in second place though. And they might have one of the best center backs in the world. Koulibaly, right? And that's you have a stalwart there in the back end. Obviously Sadio Mane. Not too much big names after that. But I like the way they're playing. Mane's in form, right? And like I said, you got a striker, you got a center back, and maybe they managed to get the second spot. I don't have them going any further in there because I do have them playing England, and next year I think England would handle them. But just to sneak out, I think that Nigeria also, I like them in terms of like the African teams, but I do think that Senegal has an easier road, obviously, to get through. So I do have Senegal finishing there. So that pretty much wraps up the group stages. I don't know if you guys want to throw any last tidbits. If you want to do maybe best young player and the golden boot. But we are gonna after the group stage we'll get back together and reevaluate.
I guess basically on the golden boot, you have to. I mean, if you look at that, it's usually the guy that
one of the best teams.
I personally, again, I think he was taken to the Spanish. I personally think that it'll probably come down to the Germans and Brazil. I'm going to go with Thomas Mueller to win the Golden Boot because I think it makes sense. I think the
Done it
Germans
before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe in a Euro.
He's also close to Miroslav Klose's record for goals at the World Cup. I'm gonna go with him, though. I didn't like what I saw from him in the Champions League.
He didn't look that good.
He didn't look great.
No.
So I'm a little concerned about that, but I think if the Germans progress, a lot of the goals will come from him. So I'm playing the odds on that one. Though again, hopefully I am by my unbiased opinion would hope that Ronaldo would do it. But
Yeah. I'm gonna go for Antoine Griezmann because I just think
as well.
I think that they're guaranteed at least a semi or a finals berth.
You would hope so.
I just think so. And with the supporting cast that they have, like, man, I can see it popping in 2 goals a game.
Wow.
Like,
That's a lot
but
of
look,
goals.
if you look at your group, Just
I
in those 3 games.
I actually wouldn't mind that because he's got really good goal celebrations. He comes up with some creative stuff.
Yeah, it's the stuff from Fortnite. Or
Fortnite,
Just looking-
the hotline bling last time.
looking